Hello, hello, hello there, beautiful people. Good time zone to you all, and thank you for joining us for a very special baking episode. It's not a beach episode. It's like a baking side episode. Um, Thank you for joining us. Before I get into any of the fun stuff, I will say, warnings, be warned. If you can't handle the following subjects, you might not want to watch this, even though it's a fun little show about crannies. Content warnings for insects, cosmic horror, violence, and elderly people. More specifically, harm coming to elderly people. So, if those are content warnings where you're like, I don't know about that, might want to sit this one out. It's not gonna get too grotesque. Don't worry about it. It's a fun little show about crannies and baking. That's all. And a little bit of murder. Now, it's time to preheat your ovens, steady your nerves, and prepare yourselves because the competition tonight is going to be fierce, and not everyone will survive to taste the final cake. With that out of the way, my lovely murder mavens, we're gonna tell a story. The view we get opens up on this very large, ostentatious villa. It has white stone walls, perfectly trimmed garden. It even has some of those awful kitsch statues in the front yard. And we hear the sound of dogs barking as we slowly make our way through the front door and into this villa. We come into a wide, spacious living area with also just a full wall of all glass, giving a nice view of the city below. And we hear the sound of television, multiple channels being swapped through until the sound of ticking on this remote control stops. And as we focus on the sound, we see on a large kind of white leather couch a older gentleman with about 3 dogs, all occupying the sofa right now. Dalmatian dogs, I'll have you know, all 3 of them. We see this person sitting in the sofa, putting down the remote control on the table in front of him, and he calls out behind him, George, the show is starting. You might want to head down and stop working for today. As this older man calls out and focuses back on the screen in front of him, slowly our vision starts to move into the television screen again as well, until it fully takes up everything we see. On there, we see a title screen, Murder Mavens, and the show starts. And the vision comes from black, fading into the overview of a town we now know as Brindlewood Bay, a coastal community in Massachusetts. As before, we see kind of the heart of this community where there is some docking of smaller ships, smaller fishing ships that still are here, mostly as a tourist attraction. We see winding streets, a little bit of a cozier vibe, as there is some hustling and bustling here, mostly touristic again in nature. There are lots of B&Bs here, lots of bakeries, lots of little antique shops. And as we kind of get a feel of this community and how nice it is outside right now with the sun shining, it's springtime, so there is this kind of it's still colder, but there's like a nice little flower breeze in the air. If you sniff a little, you can really just say, spring is there finally. And we stop with the camera, turn to the right, and focus in on the larger, kind of small wooden building that says Candlelight Booksellers. But before you would expect us to go in, the camera abruptly cuts out and cuts into a very different scene. We see a kind of abnormally large, gothy looking man around his 30s who is picking up a glass of water, and he is looking directly into camera. Behind him, we kind of see that it's light. We see that it's during the daytime. We see some like decorative decorations, which kind of look to be in the American colors, but we can't really make it out. It's a little bit vague behind him as he looks at the camera and says, "Bakers, you have 15 minutes left. You better hurry now. I don't know anything about baking, but I know you should be done by now." And he takes his glass of water that he has been holding. He pours it over his head, and he attempts to do a backflip. Whether or not that backflip lands, we never see it, because the camera cuts out again and focuses now, instead of outside of this bookseller's, focuses inside of this bookseller's. Candlelight booksellers. As we move in, we are now on the second floor, where a lot of space has been opened up to put these smaller 1 or 2 person sofas in kind of there's about room for 2 smaller circles where maybe 5 people could be sitting. One of the circles is empty. But in the other kind of set of sofa circle, we see that it's occupied by 3 lovely old ladies. As we move in, I want to ask, I'll actually ask Thirst. James, who do we see sitting in a low kind of green velvety sofa?
As a reminder, we see no one shinier than Ruth. Ruth has put on her nice clothes, which does not indicate a jumpsuit nor overalls. It is still a very floppy hat, but that floppy hat has no fishing hooks attached to it. So she's out in her Sunday's best, ready to talk to the other ladies.
And why don't you also tell me what Gold Crown Mysteries book are you reading right now? The others can chime in as well. I won't put you on the spot just on your own. What book are you currently reading? Just a title for now.
Yeah, Passion in Paradise.
Passion in Paradise.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Is this a murder book or is this a romance one?
I wrote it down. I wrote it down earlier. I think maybe I was also reading that last time too, but I had it written down. I was like, I'm going to need a title, and this is it. Passion in Paradise,
sounds
baby.
Familiar, doesn't it, Ruth? Passion in Paradise. Almost sounds like the passionate night you had after the last mystery you solved.
Wow.
We move to the next couch. A little bit higher up, kind of red lettery couch. And Adam, who do we see sitting there?
Oh, we see kind of sitting back a little bit in kind of like a gray blouse. Hair still kind of wild and free, that like kind of definitely heavily dyed, still like trying way too hard to kind of still remain looking young, with glasses that like weirdly match the hair way too much. And then, of course, sitting on her lap is her wonderful cat, Mr. Miyagi. Is just kind of like the discussion's happening and the books are open, but just for a second, you see Doris is just kind of looking down and just giving a little bit more attention to Mr. Miyagi, scritches behind the ears. "Oh, you're so cute. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm going to take you to paradise and we'll have our own little passionate fun."
Very important. What does Mr. Miyagi look like for us?
Mr. Miyagi, I think if I remember correctly, is just a black cat because I wanted to fit ominously into the story. So he's just the cutest little black cat with these like big eyes and kind of big fluffy ears, and then maybe like a just one like little speck of white like on the tip of the tail. Cute little void cat.
Yeah. Important question. Does Mr. Miyagi, because you're all sitting in these sofas, does Mr. Miyagi scratch at the sofa at any point? Are there like scratch marks on any of them?
Mr. Miyagi is probably the most behaved, like very like almost to a point where it's like this cat is way too smart and intelligent to be just a cat. Like it's like super trained, but you see like constantly giving like little treats. I think the thing that mostly that Mr. Miyagi does is like kind of knead on like, you know, like my blouse and stuff, and then like if there is any kind of like scratching or playing, it's like with me. But if like you look close enough, like in the past there's definitely been some scratches on the sofa. But in Doris's eyes, Mr. Miyagi's perfect and never has.
It's a perfect little angel.
Yeah, of course.
And at this point, when you're reading Passion in Paradise, what specific segment, what specific paragraph would kind of prompt you, or what hint in the story would prompt you to react in any way and maybe show Mr. Miyagi or speak up to the other ladies when you're reading it? What is a thing that would be happening in the story right now which would make Doris react?
Oh, I'm telling you right now, I was Team Alex, but when she went over there and he had that dog instead of a cat, I mean, I just could never be with a man. I mean, you hear those dogs barking outside and just day and night, I tell you, and they just muck up everything. And I was so rooting for Alex, but I think it might have to be Mike now because I just can't be with a man, and I don't think Amanda Delacourt would be with a man that has a dog either. Ruth, I can tell you're not speaking. You feel the same way. Well, you're telling me you'd be with... Did Dennis have a dog?
This ain't about him.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bill grew up
Janice,
with
you want to
dogs.
chime in?
Yeah, Bill grew up with dogs. I mean, we never had one, but
Oh, I'm sorry to bring it up. You know me. I'm just very passionate. You know, you had a lovely dog.
Talking about Janice, as we look at the last occupied sofa, a brown suede kind of sofa, a little bit larger, could seat 2 people. Who do we see there, Bijan?
well, you see Janice, who is your the resident conspiracy theorist of Brindlewood Bay. She is dressed like your your image of a eccentric librarian, and in fact, she does volunteer at the library. Uh, yeah, that's Janice.
Okay, so you all are reading together Passion in Paradise, and feel free to, obviously this is a book discussion, feel free to discuss the book, but also there's something very important that Janice, you wanted to bring up, because a little while ago, actually, you saw a poster in the city that immediately hit some memories for you. Namely, you saw a poster that the Jolly Good Baking Show was going to come to Brindlewood Bay for a very special episode. And one, you took note of this poster, and you desperately, well, you for one know that you can enter and you can try to get into the show, into the final round. But the others could also join. And why don't you tell us first why Janice has this kind of reaction to seeing the Jolly Good Baking Show, and what memory it's connected to for her?
Sure, Janice has very fond memories of this show. Her and her late husband Bill used to watch this all the time. Bill was a baker and would bake for her cookies every Sunday, and they would watch the show together. and talk about it. And so it has very, very important memories to her. And yeah, she would definitely bring it up to the ladies. Mavens, I think we might have a new case on our hands. And she's going to put the flyer down. The case of how do we get on this show? And she explains that Brindlewood Bay is going to be host of this competition.
With with all the TV and the cameras coming here?
Oh,
No, they wouldn't do that.
well, they are. Look at the poster. They're coming here.
On
Really?
the poster, indeed, it says that it says a date, and then it also says indeed that it will be coming here for a special one-time episode, and that everyone who wants to apply to be in the final round can basically, you will have to send an email. So one of you will have to, in some way or capacity, send an email or get a grant kid to do it. But it does say that they're coming there. It does say that everyone can apply to join.
Give me that. Give me that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be.
What's it say, Ruth? What's it say?
We gotta. Ooh.
Hmm.
We gotta send an email.
An email.
Well, we've got them computers at the library. I could definitely type a little something up. But I think this would be a fantastic, great experience for us. We could do this, maybe instead of meeting for the book club next week.
You would replace the book club with a bake show?
We could.
I
This
wonder
one's-
about your dedication, Janice. You just
This
haven't been
one's
listening.
got too much romance.
It is a little heavy.
Where's
It's a little
the
steamy.
murder?
Well, I agree. I mean, maybe it is a little bit heavy-handed, with the romance, not as much mystery, but we're still working through it. I mean, it's always like the second half is where things really kick off.
I'm not gonna buy a book to start in the middle.
Well, okay, maybe it's not the best of. Look, okay,
Ladies,
look, I'm open to it. I'm just not much of a baker, okay? Bill was always the baker. Oh, I'm sorry, I brought him up again. I'm sorry,
It's okay.
Janice.
you can bring up Bill. I like thinking. And she grips the locket around her neck that she always wears. I like talking about Bill. It's great.
Oh, those cookies he always made. Oh, Werther's and butterscotch, so good.
Can we enter as a team?
Oh, I
I don't
hope
think
so.
that's how the show works. Have you
Well-
not seen the show?
There are always folks our age, but they always seem so frantic.
It
is a
does
very
seem
intense show.
fast paced. What do we have to can we just go and watch? Can we part of? Oh, don't they have those live audiences where you can go and just when they tell you to laugh, you just go ha ha ha, and you laugh, and then when they tell you to boo, you just go boo. Is it one of those shows?
Not quite. I don't think there's an
I would be a
audience.
great audience member.
I mean,
And do they allow
Doris,
pets?
if you don't want
They wouldn't.
to, I'm sure they'd make an exception.
Well,
You
they
ever
didn't
seen a
mean-
cat? I mean, I see
But,
so many
you know what?
birds.
Mr. Miyagi, boo for me. And Mr. Miyagi just meows. Meow. See?
Very on cue.
Very
You get a
smart
little
cat.
treat as you do.
That was a meow.
Oh, you speak cat now, do you, Ruth?
They're all meows. He's a cat.
Hey, you don't listen to her. She's just, she just cares about the fishes.
Look-
Mr. Miyagi looks up at you as you speak to them and then really stares at Ruth.
Mhm.
Doris, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. If you don't have the cooking skills, the baking skills to back it up, that's okay. It's not everybody's strength. But we could still have a good time if you think you'd enjoy coming along. I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to do.
Oh, I think, I definitely, if the ladies are going, then I think I'll want to go. Poor Rosemary, she's on that little wine tour thing she was doing. I'm sure she'll be back hopefully later this evening. But she would probably get a hoot out of this. All that glitz and glam and everything is just more her style than mine.
I will say she probably want to be on the television.
That does sound.
Probably.
She would enjoy it.
I can see her now. Just show me where the cameras are. I want to stand in front of one.
And then she'd do that one thing where she'd hold up the wine glass, then she'd just go, "Not my best work."
I don't think she's ever so much as picked up a wooden spoon. So I'm curious to see if she would. But I think she would want to be on TV.
All her utensils are made of silver.
Does she even know how to cook? Doesn't she have like a butler for that? Dennis? Nope, that's your Dennis.
I would assume so.
Sorry. I've been reading Passion in Paradise. My mind is in a certain place. Jeez.
Obviously.
It's cold outside, but hot in here.
Well, we know why Ruth isn't getting into Passion in Paradise. She has her own passion in paradise.
Ruth, do you think is Ruth the kind of person who would keep it at a one night stand, or would there be something more going on in recent nights?
There's so many boys out there.
There's so many boys out there. You're so right. Go get him, Queen. So you kept that at a one night stand.
Well,
I don't like to get too attached. Everyone's all in their own business trying to bring me along.
It's true. It's why she always catches and releases when she's out by the docks.
Another reason I kind of want to go, I've always suspected that this show is rigged. Bill says it isn't.
Oh, here we go.
And it's not the caliber of our usual mysteries, ladies. It's not a murder, but it could be a little fun exercise to just, see what's going on. I'm pretty sure it's rigged.
How do they rig a baking show?
Oh, it's all behind the scenes. It's all behind the scenes, Ruth. They move the little pieces around like pawns on a chessboard.
Bakery.
It's a very complicated competition. It's real intense. You haven't seen the show. It's fantastic, though.
Well,
It's
it
really
would
fun.
only be rigged if they were doing fast cutaways and then not showing them actually making the final preparations. And instead it's like, oh, it's baking. And then it's like, oh, here's the final. And it's like, oh, what happened in between? But that probably doesn't happen on any baking show, right?
Exactly.
But how would we get? I mean, we have to email.
Oh, I'll handle that.
Janice could do that. You have a library computer.
You're so technologically advanced, Janice.
I was an accountant before this.
Oh, you like to tell us. Very good with numbers.
You see,
I can see it in your shoes. You're an accountant.
I think they're cute.
I'm sure you do.
All right. Well, okay. Well, are we going to go or not?
Sorry. My mom was an accountant growing up, and she'd say you could look me square in the shoes and tell.
What do you think, Mr.
Oh,
Meow?
of course we're going. Of course we're going. They make so much food, and then the cute one with the blue eyes goes, tastes great, looks a mess, and then it goes somewhere else. Could go in our mouths.
And what happens in between the episodes? What kind of politics, backroom deals?
It's
Aren't they
also
just practicing?
It's also strange that Ruth, not having seen the Jolly Good Baking Show, gave a pretty accurate description of one of the main judges, Paul Rivera, and you would know that, Janice. Gray hair,
holding her cards
silver,
close.
steely eyes. Kind of uncanny, almost.
Yeah, Janice gives Ruth a little, Okay. Never seen the show.
I never said that.
Hmm.
Well, I certainly have never seen the show, but I am one to admit I will not allow my pride to step over my honest to goodness heart. I am not a baker, okay? I am just not. The Lord gives many talents, but he did not give me baking.
Are you saying you can't follow simple instructions?
Oh, I can follow instructions just fine. But
That's all it is.
You don't consider a boxed thing of muffins as bacon, do you?
You just buy the ingredients and read
artists?
the recipe.
Aren't they artists? They are performing art on that show, I'm sure. They're making swans out of pickles. I don't know.
Doris,
They
how
don't
many
use pickles.
how many mysteries have you solved, Doris? How many murders have we solved in this book club?
We are not.
And you're telling me you can't figure out the mystery of baking a cake, Doris? Please, I know you can do this.
Let's not go in there about how many we've solved. Okay, that's not going to tell anyone on a 36. But look, we don't need to get into that. Okay.
Outside, the hours pass. Light becomes becomes dark, and the book isn't touched anymore. As the next few hours of your book club are spent discussing whether or not all of you can bake and how you will send an email. Even though multiple times Janice says that she will do it and she will send the email, 30 minutes after, you will have Ruth saying, but how do we do this actually? And it begins all over again. We get a little montage scene, and through it we see a vision of Janice sitting behind one of the computers at the library, logging into her Hotmail account and sending a mail in to for all the murder mavens, Rosemary included, to apply to get into the baking show. Next frame we see is all of you. Oh, I see a hand.
Janice, what is your email account?
I was going to ask. I want to know what the email account is, what it says.
Tell us.
It's who watches the watchers at hotmail.com.
No. From the library email? It's a bomb threat.
Who watches the watchers at hotmail.com? No, it's like who watches the watchers?
What kind of mails do we see in the inbox? Like, what kind of mails would Janice be receiving there? Did she subscribe to some conspiracy theorist newsletters?
So many newsletters.
There's 100% like it is conspiracy theories, aliens, crop circles, Bigfoot, everything that you could think of. Also just like tons of scam emails, like tons of just like marketing and, pages of car warranty advertisements, things like that.
Did she click on any of them?
All of them.
An inbox zero gal.
Yeah, because the scam emails have a hidden message in them.
You don't understand. There's a pattern in the emails. Why these emails, Doris? Why these ones at this time? And then she's got to catalog it.
I did try the email once, Janice. Did you get my pictures of Mr. Meowgie?
I did, and they are now my desktop background. Did you know you could do that? You can do that.
Oh my goodness! What's a desktop?
I don't want to explain that to you, Doris.
The next frame we see is all four of you at the first qualifying round. We see all of you try your best, some of you being a little better at it than others, but all four of you manage to get through these first few qualifying rounds in some magical way. Is it because of your baking skills? Probably not. It's probably because of some other entertaining reason. We open up to a big tent. We're currently in the somewhat smaller botanical gardens in Brindlewood Bay. The production crew behind the Jolly Good Baking Show has managed to get the kind of larger green field within these botanical gardens and got to rent it out for this very special episode. A very big white tent is set up in the middle of all of it, surrounded by a few trailers. In this big tent in the middle, we see different aisles and different places where about, let's say about 6 contestants can stand. All of them have their different utensils, all of them equipped with an oven, and above we see colorful bunting all over the ceiling of this tent. Everything is decorated, however, in the American colors, because this is a British show which does a special episode in Massachusetts. So obviously, all of the decorations have to be in the American flag. The smell of sugar is in the air here, combined with the smell of some browned delicious butter, and all around the gardens, ovens are firing up for the competition that is about to start. We have amateur bakers who all got through the qualifying rounds to end up with only 6 contestants at the end to do this final round, which is the only one that's going to be televised and recorded for this special episode. Now, I will ask all of you to come up with what you're going to be baking in this first round, which is a pie round. I will also say that while you all know that Rosemary got through the qualifying rounds as well, and she was going to be here as well, she's not here currently. She is not on time, perhaps, or there is another reason. But you all are there with 2 other contestants right now. There's no Rosemary to be seen. Now, I will go through all of you, and we will do this collaboratively. So each of you will tell me what pie your Maven is making, and then someone else of you will be deciding whether or not that pie is a triumph or a disaster. Don't feel like you're being too harsh on the others. You can totally decide whatever you want to. And then afterwards, we'll just explain a little bit about why this pie is the way it is. If you're all set, I'm going to go ahead and start with Ruth. Ruth?
Are we doing sweet pies or savory
Pie.
pies?
You can choose. Totally up to
Ruth
you.
is a
Open
savory
competition
pie
rules.
kind of gal. She wants that hearty sailor pie, you know. I just see it.
Nah, I got something else. I got something.
Woo!
Ruth is making double-decker apple ham pies.
Not me having to look up what an apple ham.
It's just a
Same.
smaller pie. It's just a smaller pie.
That's
Oh, so it's just apple
okay,
pie?
but that's
It's a sweet pie.
savory, right? It's
Uh,
sweet with ham.
Hand, H-A-N-D, hand.
Oh, I thought you said
Oh,
ham.
okay, I thought I thought you said
was
No,
like,
ham as
thank
well,
God.
and I
No,
was
not
googling
apple and ham.
apple ham pie. It I'll let you know it exists. There are recipes for it. Okay, no,
Apple and
no,
ham.
apple hand pies, way better.
Hand, yes.
Okay,
Oh,
so great, Adam. Why don't you tell us whether or not the apple hand pies that Ruth made are triumphs or rather disappointing?
triumphs for sure. Like for
Triumphs?
sure.
Okay,
I
okay,
think that
okay.
the pie is probably phenomenal.
Okay. why don't you, Bijan, why don't you tell us one of the reasons why these pies are so good?
It is, the crust is so perfectly set. It is the perfection of flakiness. It's set perfectly on top. It doesn't crumble and fall apart. When you pull that slice out, it's that perfect pie image, and the crust is the best part. Fantastic.
You gotta give it enough time to brown and not burn.
And Ruth, why don't you also tell us a reason why your pies are just that good?
Everyone wants to use the apples, but you gotta drain them first. They got too much water.
Exactly. You took your time to get as much moisture as you could out of these apples. And that is exactly why, indeed, when we see all of you in a shot, all standing side to side in this big judge's tent. All of you with your little aprons on. Do tell me if you decorated your own apron a little bit, please. But for now, we all see you standing side by side with the other contestants, and we see Ruth with her plate of hand apple pies walking up and putting it in front of the table of the judges. Who do we see in front of us? Well, the camera switches and shows us the table from the other side, and there we see two also elderly people. One of them is an elderly, kind of posh-looking woman. She seems to be around your age as well, with graying hair that is done up in a bun, a neat little bun, and she is dressed as well, kind of elegantly and properly. Janice, as a person who has seen the show, and if any of you would have decided to watch the show before coming here, you can decide that on your own. You know that this is one of the judges, one of the fixed judges on the show, who is called Jane Leave. She is a sweet, posh, elderly person. And next to her is actually the real star of the show. Because next to her is the other judge. He is not as old, but still has short gray cropped hair. An older looking gentleman who has this amazing jaw structure, and most vividly of all, these bright steely blue eyes that just make for a stunning view, honestly. He is dressed in casual shirt with his sleeves rolled up, and he has this just ever so pleasant smile on his face. He's made for the cameras, as some would say. And this man is Paul Rivera, one of the judges as well on this show, and probably the biggest star on it, honestly. These are the two judges that you put your pies in front of, and they both take a bite. Paul is the one who reacts to your pies, and he's nodding as he's taking a bite. And then he looks at Ruth and says, "You know, the combination of tartness and just that it's not overly sweet. You know, you take a bite and there's a perfect ratio of apple and dough, and the crispy flakiness of the dough is really, you show that you've made these before. This is a perfect recipe for it and perfectly executed, honestly. Nothing to say here. Great job. Great apple pies. I'm looking forward to seeing what you will make in the next round." With that, he also reaches forward and puts his hand on your shoulder and gives you a little shoulder rub. There is applause from all the other contestants because, as those of you who have seen the show would know, getting the famous Paul Rivera shoulder rub is not an easy feat. And it's something that's
Referencing
given with
vibe.
respect. So as he gives you the shoulder rub, all of the other contestants start applauding, and some of the production crew even like give a little cheer and stuff. Because this is not something that happens very often.
I think
you
I'm just
got it.
quickly. I'm sitting next to Janice, and I just like lean over. What's happening? Why is everyone so excited?
It's Doris. Just shut up.
Oh, okay.
Janice is like wrapped right now.
Yeah, and you get to take your plate back, put it back on your little island, and it's up to the next person to present their pie. Adam, why don't you tell us what pie Doris decided to make?
So Doris has a stark white apron on that is decorated with a multicolored faceted paw prints that if you look at Mr. Miyagi's paws, you still see paint on like the bottom of his paws, the different like colors, as it's just a whole bunch of cat paw prints like all over it. As it's already been noted, Doris is not a baker, so what you have in front of you is a whipped cream pie, which is like a crust with like a mostly like 99% whipped cream like is filled into it, with like little cuties, strawberries, blueberries, and fruits kind of like mixed in and like swirled around into it. And as I'm like finishing up, I just look over at Janice. It's called Passion in Paradise. And I just like I like put the finishing like whipped cream touches on, because you'll see probably as like she kind of like sets it like on the plate. On the arm, when we were walking in, it was like raining, which is why the tent was going on. And you can see like ink for like what was supposed to be an ingredients list, but it's just like smeared off from the rain. So she had no idea what to make. So she just kind of like put this together.
I love it. Bijan, why don't you, however, though, tell us whether or not this pie is a triumph or rather disappointing?
I'm gonna roll for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go, brother.
I love it.
It's a 3. What is that? I would say just
mid.
barely doesn't make the cut. It's a 4 and above pass, right? In this game?
Well, you gotta roll 2 of them, right? Then you roll 2
Oh,
dice.
right,
No, no,
yeah.
But just, you can decide to be
Yeah,
mean
follow your
to the
heart, follow your
others.
heart.
Yeah.
I'm following my heart. I think it just barely didn't make the cut for Paul Riviera.
So, it is rather disappointing, this whipped cream pie. Passion in paradise, as you call it. James, why don't you give us a reason why this pie is rather disappointing?
So, like a lot of people using the term whipped cream in America, it's put off. If you ever watch another show that is very similar to the title, they use the term chantilly cream, which sounds way fancier. And it's just the same thing. And unfortunately with chantilly cream, everyone uses sweet cream, but they think, oh, I'll just add a little sugar. And it turns out too sweet. So just like my bestie Doris, she's just a little too sweet.
Oh.
A little bit too much passion put into that pie. Bijan, why don't you tell us another reason why this pie is a little bit on the rather disappointing side?
Yeah. I think it's the presentation, as much as the effort is there, and I think Jane would probably would say something like, "Oh, honey, I see what you were going for. I see the vision. It just didn't quite get there."
And I would love to steal James's idea as well, that there is a visible cat hair on the pie. So
I was literally gonna
As
say as I bring it up, I was gonna pull one out, but he beat me to it.
Oh no, that's great. That's perfect. That's even better. That's even better.
I was literally gonna like walk it up and like, oh, sorry about that, and just pull out the cat hair. Like, it's just, oh, sorry.
absolutely,
It's not supposed to be
Doris-
shredding season.
Doris brings this pie up to the judges, cuts out a slice, and as you cut out 2 slices and you put it on a separate plate, you notice a cat hair on it, and you pull it out and you're like, oh, so sorry, so sorry about that one. As you do, you put it down, and both of the judges take a bite. And indeed, Jane is the one who would speak up about it and just say that it's a refreshing idea there, but the execution was just not quite there. A pie has to have some character, and this is flat and sugary, and that's just not what we're going for in this pie, I think. You tried, though. Better luck in the next round. From next to you, you also hear a reactions from the crew, and more specifically, as you go back to your place, you put your pie back on your island, you see one of the hosts of the show, Sue, who is a younger, kind of boisterous lady. She's a little bit more set, and she is wearing a very fuzzy kind of jumper with just very bright colors. And as you put your plate back, you come back to your spot. She comes up to you and she says, I gotta give you a hug, right? You need a hug. And without actually waiting for your response, she just like goes in and hugs you a little bit.
Okay, all right, okay. I don't. I
She
was really hoping for a hug from Paul.
she leans back and she says, we all get it, right? We all want a little quality time with Paul now, do we? And she looks towards Paul, who gives this charming smile where you know he has dealt with this before, and he's just effortlessly and like waving it off, being like, yeah, haha, right. You put your pie back.
We could go to Riviera, Paul. Hmm?
Fuck.
Passion in paradise, baby.
Hot in here.
I
Oh, that was just the oven.
Doris's pickup lines are just top tier.
I imagine that even as Doris put down their pie for the judges, she looked directly at Paul when she said, it's called Passion in Paradise.
Oh, I think when I see, yeah, I 100%. Yeah, then like as I get back, and like I'm like, oh, ladies, is it hot in here? Is it just me? When I made a whipped cream cold pie that has no requirements for baking whatsoever. It's like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, just have a
And
hot flash.
yes, I am.
you go back to stand with the other contestants, and it's up to the next one. Janice, Bijan, why don't you tell us what pie Janice made?
Janice made Bill's favorite sweet potato custard pie. That's his. That is his go-to pie recipe. And in the top of it, she sets it down on the table, and she looks at Paul. I carved in a little shape of a lizard. I thought you might like that. And she gives him a look. And she slides the pie over.
Storyteller purposes, I need to know why a lizard.
Oh, she thinks that he's a reptilian shapeshifter. Absolutely, that's one of her theories.
Oh my god.
I love it. Yes. Okay. So, James, why don't you go ahead and tell us first if this pie is a triumph or rather disappointing?
It is sensational.
Show stopping as we would say. Hell yeah. Adam, why don't you give us one of the reasons why this pie is so sensational?
I think it's the absolute artistry of the lizard on top. Like, just is like so impeccably done that it's just like, was this like stamped in like a process line, or it's like, it is just like the perfect lizard on top, that where it's like, it's incredible to taste, but the artistry that Janice took the time to do to like the entire piece kind of like forces your eye to the lizard in the middle. Like the decorations on the outside and everything just kind of forces it there, where it's just like, it truly looks just as good as it tastes.
Absolutely. The lizard on top just makes it. And James, why don't you give us another reason why this pie is so damn good?
I'd say that, like, you know, with being a librarian and like watching this being done, like all of it is so timed well to the time allotment that like Janice didn't even need to practice it. It was in the bag. You know, she's got like 5 minutes left on the clock. She's done. She's helping someone else. So you know, it had a perfect amount of time to set. You know, they cut a slice of what they believe is just gonna fall right out, but it's perfectly set.
It's all perfectly timed. And as Janice, you go forward, put this pie on the table, take out 2 slices for the judges, and you say, I put this lizard on there. I thought you might like that especially. You see them both take a bite, and you see Paul studying the lizard on top as well. And you
He's looking.
he is getting this like melancholic little smile on his face, and immediately you feel the shift in like the production crew as well, where you hear one of the production people, actually the main sort of manager of it all, Heath, a little bit older man, balding and a little bit more set, a very stern look always on his face. He is also the one who got you all ready and got everything set up when you were setting up. And he instructs one of the cameramen, namely Buck, who is a good-looking, a little bit more muscled, younger gentleman who is one of the main camera people on this crew. You see Heath instructing Buck to get closer and get this scene, because it's going to be good. You see them move a little bit closer because they just anticipate already what is going to come, that something's going to happen. And as they get a little bit closer at the camera, we see that Paul actually starts tearing up. And he just has the tiniest, most elegant little tear form into his eye corner that he goes, "Oh, sorry there," and he winks it away, and he says, "It's just it's absolutely astounding how you would know that I had a pet lizard back when I was a kid, and this is the perfect vision of them. Actually, I didn't expect to become this emotional about it, really. Sorry about that." And you hear a little awes from the production crew at this emotional little moment as he winks away the tear. And he says, "Thank you, and the pie is also very good. It tastes just the way it should. It has a perfect balance in it of sweet and saltiness. Great job, honestly. But the decorations are amazing. The best part of it, by sure."
Thank you so much, Paul. What a dream. And she clutches her locket and takes her, I guess, sits back down.
Yeah, you don't get a shoulder up for some reason, but you did get a little tear out of him, and you pick your pie back up and put it back on your island and go to stand with the other contestants. Next up, the following contestant goes. This is a younger man, who I will say this as well. The whole idea behind the special episode is that they were getting all Brindlewood Bay residents to be the contestants. You do not recognize this man. And when he speaks up, he also has a British accent. This is a younger looking man with nicely gelled back blonde hair, and he is wearing a white shirt with, you might like it or hate it, the image of like a bow tie printed on the shirt itself. He's wearing that. He looks nicely decked out, nicely tailored. He looks like he takes care of himself. And he gets out his pie. And you already catch a glimpse of it as it is brought forward. But it definitely becomes clear once it's put down and the camera kind of takes an overhead view of it. Everyone starts laughing as Scott, the other contestant among you, presents his pie because it is intricately shaped as a ding dong. I don't know what word I can say here on Twitch, but perfectly shaped as male genitalia. Everyone in the crew. Everyone in the crew starts laughing. Even the other contestants. I don't know if you all laugh, but the only person who is not laughing is Jane, who really looks around at everyone laughing and says, "Can we? I don't know what is so funny here. Can we stop? We have a show to film, for God's sake." He puts down his pie. The laughing eventually ceases down. And he takes out a slice for each of them. He looks directly at Paul as he presents them. And he says, I made this with especially you in mind. I thought you might like it as well. There is no visible reaction seen on Paul's face at this. He has this ever so charming just smile, and he has this way of whenever there is like a little bit of a mark that's questionable, he just effortlessly waves it away. And they both take a bite. The pie is alright, it's pretty mid. It's also falling like a little bit below the average, really, where it's a bit bland, honestly. Whatever he did like more of a tart, like a savory pie, and he didn't put in enough salt, and so honestly the texture is alright, but the flavoring is kind of bland. As I imagine it's like some kind of rhubarb pie. As he takes it back to his place. However, as he does, and as he puts it back on his island, you do hear from the side where the production crew is standing and where some bystanders are allowed to be looking and stuff, you hear a woman who is sitting on a higher folded chair speak up. And I believe that maybe only Janice really knows who she is right now, but you see there Donna Rivera, the wife of Paul Rivera. Only Janice would really know this, I guess, because she has seen the show before. But Donna doesn't really come onto the show, but she is there traveling probably with her husband, you would assume. She is around middle-aged lady with very coiffed up, it done up in curls and lots of hairspray, bottle blonde hair with this kind of leopard print two-piece jumpsuit that she has on. She's sitting on the side watching all of this, and you standing on the side closest to her do catch a comment from her where she says, "Yes, I'm sure he would like that a lot. Unbelievable." As you hear that though, you all are on camera, so you can't really comment on it. As the next contestant goes up, and the last contestant who is present at least, because where is Rosemary, comes up and presents her pie. You do recognize her, however, if you would want to, because she has been seen in Brindlewood Bay before. You see a younger lady who is sensibly dressed Melanie, and her last name is Melanie Blair. You would recognize her because, well, at least right now, maybe if I think about it a little bit more, you might remember more, but you do remember that her parents used to own a bakery in Brindlewood Bay. Used to do. It not anymore, but they used to. And so it makes sense that she would get on the show. She seems a little frazzled. Her hair is a little all over the place as she apparently scrambled to make her also an apple and pear pie. She puts it up in front of the judges and with a shaking hand slices out 2 slices, puts them in front of them, and you already see that she seems to be not doing the best because her hand is shaking a little bit, and as she starts speaking, she's struggling through her words a little bit, and she says, yeah, so I have this apple and pear pie for you guys, and I really tried my best there, but it seemed that the oven here was malfunctioning a little bit, so I was a little bit on a time pressure, and maybe the things just didn't work out a little bit as I planned it, and I wanted to make a very good first impression, but it didn't fully work out the way I thought it would, and I'm sorry, I just need a moment. She starts crying, actually, in front of you, and the camera crew is eating this up, obviously. They're filming this closely. As you see maybe a little bit of sad faces in the other contestants of a feeling for her, you see Jane go over and give her a little pat on the back to reassure her and be like, I'm sure it's going to be better than you think it will be. Just ease down and we'll take a bite and it'll all be fine, really. It's only just the first round as well. From the side, you also hear a reaction that is actually filmed, and that's the other host of the show. Next to Sue is another host. He is a large, kind of gothy-looking man, all dressed in black, with a little bit of hair almost hanging in front of his eyes. And Timothy speaks up towards the camera and says, well, that is a lot of emotion for a pie. That's the only comment he gives to the camera as the camera swivels back to the pie and the breakdown happening from Melanie. It happens. Both judges take a bite, and it is a little bit undercooked, but the flavor is amazing. The flavor is really, really amazing. She picked great apples and pears for this. Combination of it just works well, honestly. It's a staple. If it had gotten a little bit more time in the oven, it would have been show-stopping, honestly. So she should chin up and have faith for the next round, honestly. Having wiped her tears away, Melanie takes her pie back and thanks both of the judges tremendously, like, thank you, and puts it back on her island and comes back. With that, all of the current contestants have presented their pies, and as such, you have finished filming the first round. You're all instructed by Heath and by the production crew in general that you guys will be having some lunch. There is an array of small little sandwiches, very British tea style, kind of small triangle sandwiches and little cakes and stuff set up in a display for you guys to have as lunch. And basically you're instructed to stay here, grab a little bit of lunch, take some time, and then they will continue on with the next round after that. And if anything were to happen, a few of the crew will be staying around here still, but most people will be going off-site. But you and a handful of people will still be staying on-site to do your lunch. As you're instructed to do that, and as you at a certain point, people kind of trail away. As mentioned before, around this big judge's tent in the middle, there are some trailers of people. And you do at least see, let me check. You do at least see that Paul and Jane, both of the judges, and Timothy and Sue, both of the hosts, they do all go back to trailers at some capacity. And then, during this spanning of lunchtime, you would also see that Scott and Melanie, both of the other contestants, are kind of sticking around having some lunch here and there. And you would also see that from the production crew, Heath and Buck, previously mentioned, are also staying around a little bit. And then Donna as well. Is there anything that as you guys take lunch that you discuss over some triangle sandwiches? I see nodding.
Janice is ready to go.
Yeah. No, so Janice is looking, she's like half eating these little finger sandwiches and like jotting in her notebook, which on the front says the truths they don't want you to know. And she's like writing her little notes in there. And she's saying,
Would you write that on the front?
So that poor girl, her oven wasn't working? That's interesting, right? I told you I think the show is rigged.
No, Jen,
well-
she ran out of time.
Her parents were bakers. You think that she couldn't pull out a show-stopping performance? We all know that girl can bake. Please.
No, that apple pear pie takes longer than she thought. It was unfortunate. Matter of fact,
I think we should take a look at the oven.
Pies.
You want to take a look at the oven?
Right now, before we get back, before the show starts back up.
I can't believe I'm saying this, and this is probably the only time I will ever say this. So, Janice, you might want to sit down. You might want to sit down. You may be onto something. Because, no, now hear me out. Hear me out. Not only did the oven malfunction, supposedly, and she had this wonderful tears. I mean, my goodness, it was like perfectly on cue. But who is that other gentleman? I've never seen him in our fair town. And if they're supposed to be all here from Brindlewood Bay, who's this little hosh posh magosh that just shows up with his little meat pie with no actual meat in it?
You know, I wasn't even thinking. I'm so used to everybody being British. That's a really good point, Doris.
I'm saying it's supposed to be a local show, and looks like they got some out-of-towners to come in and fix the plot, as it were.
The only thing he needs to fix is his recipes. That thing did not look good.
I didn't know you were such a baker, Ruth.
I'm not. I don't want to be here making a fool of
You know,
myself.
something else I was thinking of, Janice, is she described the head Mr. Riviera so well the other day, didn't she, Janice?
Oh, she did, Doris. She described him to a T. As if
I'd like to take
she were looking at a
ride with
picture.
that Paul Riviera.
You see one photograph of him and you remember.
Oh, I'm sure you do remember, Ruth. Clear as day in your mind, you can see his image.
I have to ask a very important question here. James, look me in the eyes and tell me if Ruth at some point made a trip to the UK in her long life and had a fling with Paul.
She did not have a fling. No, she's thought about figuring out how to get on the show.
She's a real baker.
Yeah, I love it. Continue.
Plant like
Continue.
a cool fucking cucumber.
Yep.
Continue.
But
I
will.
don't. I'm not gonna enter myself into a competition and be made a fool.
Mm.
Oh.
Try hard.
You
know,
got
Doris,
the infamous, what was it, shoulder pat?
She got the shoulder squeeze.
Yeah, I still don't know what that means.
It means you nailed it, Doris. It means you knocked it out of the park.
Or, Janice, that's a cue that maybe that's not going to be the winner. It's rigged and all. Maybe there's some sort of hidden agenda.
Now I will say
Mm.
the apple pie is nice, but there's nothing like that sweet potato custard pie that your husband used to make.
Bless. I think you should have upped your chances, Janice, by giving a nice long story about Bill while you were there, because that was his blessed pie, and it was, it just looked good.
Oh, Bill never liked to brag about it, but you know what? You're right. That's what gets you
But
on
you
the show,
brag
right?
for him every day, all the time.
That's true. It's a good pie.
Oh, it was amazing.
Matter of fact, where did they take that blessed? Why this is a baking show. Why am I eating sandwich?
You know what? That's another good mystery. Where do they take the pies? Is that another part of the conspiracy? Let's file that under secondary mysteries.
My stomach's filing that under primary.
Should we go ask who that gentleman is? The British meat man?
You know what? We can maybe split up, because I do want to check out that oven, ladies. I think that there might be something going on there.
Go ahead. I'm distracting these producers to figure out how I can get another slice of that goddamn pie.
I'll go with you, Janice.
Ruth, you go get the pie.
As our view fades away, we get neither of the scenes that are now discussed. Instead, we get Janice sitting in a chair, or actually standing behind her island, camera crew all filming her. This is while you were making the pies, and Janice, one of the hosts, namely Sue, comes up to you and asks you a question while you're prepping this pie. And she asks you, so, Janice, was it? Why, while you're making this lovely pie, we would love to know, why is it so important to you to take part in this competition and to win this competition?
Oh, you know, this show has been so special to me and my late husband, Bill. And Bill always thought that he could win this thing. And, you know, I'm using all of his recipes while I'm here. And I'm going to maybe show everybody that he could.
I like to believe that I like to believe that Dora's indeed Oz, and maybe you would come over if you weren't being so frantic about making your own whipped cream pie.
I feel like I would have time to come over, because I just literally just put whipped cream in it and threw some shit in there. I had all the time in the world. They gave you an hour, and I'm I was done in 15 minutes. Just what do I do now? I'm just in there stirring it, making it look like I'm busy. I don't know what I'm doing. So I definitely would have come over and given her a little pat on the shoulder and oh, it's okay, dearie. Bill was great, you know.
Sue would have done the same, and Sue would have given you one of those half hugs where she would put her arm behind your shoulders and give it a little squeeze. And she said, "Well, Janice, that is a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I'm sure that you will make Bill proud today, and you will. Who knows? You might even win. You might even win with this pie. Well, we'll leave you to it, because the competition is heating up. It's not just the ovens." And she leaves you with that. The scene fades out again to the present times. You all standing in this big judge's tent. So now tell me, during lunchtime, what are you doing? I heard some plans.
I'm shaking down the producers to see what they did with the pies so that I can get a slice of the ones that I wanted. And maybe to distract them from what the other two are doing, but primary goals are primary goals.
Okay, perfect. You are trying to find production crew to find out the mystery of the pies. The other two, you were gonna stick together?
Yes.
And you want to check out the ovens, as I heard.
Yeah.
I want to check out Melanie's oven, particularly. Is there any
Melanie's oven.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they? Is there
Yeah,
any
it
like
malfunctioned.
connection that's filed away? Like, oh, this is clearly tampered with. That's what I'm looking for.
Perfect. Then we will first follow the two of you, Janice and Doris, as you look around to see if there's any people really in the vicinity, and as you do spot someone, you namely spot Keith, who is finishing up setting all of the production crew, like the cameras aside, and shutting them down for right now. But as you do notice him, you immediately see Ruth heading straight towards him and getting into conversation. So beside that person, it seems to be all clear to do a little bit of meddling.
She starts looking at
and
the
why
oven,
don't you?
and she says,
Yeah?
"This is just like, you remember Cool Night's Hot Murder when the air conditioning machine was malfunctioning, and it
I do
and it killed
remember.
those people. This is what I'm. You know what I'm. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, maybe she was crying because she knew what she had done.
Hmm.
Okay, are you using the move here, or are you just doing this for funsies? I need to know.
Oh, move. I
Because
know.
if you do end up using the Gold Crown Mysteries move, you could state a fact about the current situation that is canon. So you could say,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh,
What is the gold-
Melody."
Explain that again. How does that
you
work?
could basically make it that like it was indeed sabotage, like it was like fact, like oh there was actually sabotage done or something.
Yeah. So if you decide once in this whole mystery, you can use the Gold Crown Mysteries move, where as you just did, you say like, "Oh, this reminds me of this one thing that happened in this book with Amanda, and this is how Amanda dealt with it." And then you either get a 12+ on a single relevant dice roll, or you can say a fact about the current situation, which is now canon. You
Sure.
don't have
So is
to
that
use
once
it,
per
but
each
it
of us, or
sounds
the whole
like it.
group? Once
The
each
whole
of us?
group.
Oh, okay. Then I'm not gonna steal that unless everybody else like wants to do that. That's early to use that.
I like it.
I say do it. I love
I
it.
like
I
it.
love it. Let's
Okay.
just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. It
let's
was
just do it.
sabotaged. They
I
sabotaged the
love
oven.
how like we have to feed the conspiracy theorist
Yeah.
to keep from hungry.
Yes, absolutely. So you already perfectly say it. I would like to ask, so you already said the book and what happened. How did Amanda overcome the problem, or the solution, resolve the situation of an oven that was sabotaged? How did she overcome it? And everyone can chime in here, right?
Well, I think first, like the key to the mystery was understanding how the air conditioning malfunctioned and who did it. And so maybe we don't have the who yet, but if we have the how, that's a huge step in solving the mystery. If we know exactly what was done, because certain sabotages like could only be done by contestants, or the opportunity would only have been done by production. So that might narrow it down for us.
Perfect.
I would
Yeah.
I would
go
say
ahead,
that as as I'm there, unless you want to go first, Ruth.
I can state how like it being an oven and an AC, I could state how you could sabotage the both of them very similarly. If that's what you'd like to know.
Go ahead.
Both an oven and an AC, especially a commercial oven, would have an air intake, and you could sabotage that by putting like a series of very like low key, I guess like inconspicuous air filters to essentially block the ability for air intake to work.
So not something a contestant can do right before the show. This would have to be production that would do something like that.
You would have to hide it by like spending a not a substantial amount of time, but like a noticeable amount of time,
Yeah.
like affixing something to like the bottom of the oven.
So it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. But it could be a contestant if they got access.
Someone, if somebody
Somehow
snuck
early.
in and did it, it very well could have. But like,
okay.
you could imagine, like, to kind of seed the scene. Let's say in that book, the way that Amanda Delacourt so graciously identified that was, pouring through the manual to look through regular maintenance, and she found out that the facilities was hating on management, so they wanted to stick it to him, and it was actually an accident in which they tripled up on the amount of air filters after a complaint that the air was dirty.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Classic. And I would add, in terms of how she overcame it, as I'm like looking, and then I go over, and each of us had our own oven, and I didn't use mine, but when I open it up, it's still warm inside. So while hers malfunctioned, she lost time, so it couldn't fully complete, but she utilized my oven secretly to complete as much as she could. As I open it up, and I'm like, why is mine warm? I didn't use it because I made a whipped cream pie. So it's like, so she got over it by secretly using my oven to finish it, as mine wasn't sabotaged.
Great. Yes, I love that. I also love the idea of everyone else probably knowing that that Melanie was using Doris's oven and thinking, oh well, Doris agreed to this, right? She graciously offered her oven, but Doris didn't know at all. So yes,
Did they
that's
forget to turn
exactly.
this off? Is it on preheat? It's still hot.
That is exactly what the two of you discover together as you put all of the clues together. And you can actually take this as a clue that Melanie's oven was sabotaged, indeed. And as you piece this together, the camera switches over, swivels, and zooms into the conversation that is happening at the other side of the tent between Ruth and Heath. Ruth, you walk up to Heath, who is busy kind of setting monitors straight, and he was checking something on one. As you get close, he doesn't give a sign that he notices you're there, and he is pushing some buttons on this monitor.
Would I have learned Heath's last name, like, through kind of just the rigmarole of all this?
Yeah, because when you were all introduced into the set, he would have introduced himself as the producer, basically, and his last name is Hendricks.
Yeah, you see her kind of phrase. Mr. Hendricks, could I borrow you for a question? Now,
As long as it doesn't take long.
Of course not, honey. This is a baking show. I would have loved to sample some of the things that other contestants have done. Could you point me in the direction in which I can get myself a slice of pie?
Oh, you merely want the other pies?
I don't want all of them, just a slice.
Oh, sure. Well, he points to outside of the tent, but at the table where most of the production crew are standing when they do mic checks and stuff. There is a table set up there, just a foldable table, where all of the pies are set up. Well, all of the edible ones, the ones who are undercooked or something like that, aren't set there. They are thrown away. But the ones that were edible enough, they're set there, actually, so the crew can take them if they want to. And you see that some of them already have a few pieces missing. He points to that table and he says, there you go, miss. Pies are right over there. Take some if you want to.
It's Ruth. Thank you, dear.
Yes. Well, I have to get back to work.
Sure, you look very busy pushing those buttons. And just starts shuffling away.
Oh, as you walk away, he kind of says as you pass, I'll have you know the work of a producer is very hard, thank you.
Oh, you look like you have some difficulty pressing those buttons, dear.
He just grumbles a little bit. Yeah, absolutely brutal. He grumbles a little bit.
Shit.
As you go and take the pies, a little bit of slices where they're standing. As you all do that, we have this view of you all in a little bit fast forwarding. You all eating the rest of your lunches, sharing the information that you got through the oven that you found was sabotaged, sharing the very important information of where all of the pies are stationed, namely next to the crew, at a little table. And lunch passes. You don't really see a lot of other people around, except for now and then maybe the people that I mentioned staying on site. And at a certain point, you all gather back into the judge's tent as you wait to start the next round of baking. Everyone arrives. First, the camera crew and the production crew in general, so Heath and Buck and everyone else who went offsite, come back in, get everything set up to start recording again. They go through mic checks. You see the two hosts, Timothy and Sue, also coming back and getting their mics checked to get ready. You also hear them kind of practicing jokes to each other to see how they would land. You see the other contestants come back as well. Scott and Melody, they both stayed on side. They're coming back to get their mics put up again, and they are Melanie actually brings up like, what do you think is the next round that we have to be doing? And Scott has this very uncaring demeanor about it, where it's clear that he's like, I don't know, and I don't really care at this point. Whatever it will be, it'll happen. As they all come back, eventually Jane comes back, gets her mic checked, and takes her place at the judges' table. And then Donna comes back as well. You all are there, checking your mics, waiting a little bit, all getting ready to start the next round. But Paul isn't showing up. And at a certain point, Timothy offers to go and check where Paul is, and he leaves. And it's not really noticeable because everyone is talking a little bit, but you do see Timothy leaving. And people seem a little bit impatient, but it's alright. There's a little bit of chatter, a little bit of jokes maybe that Paul ate a wrong pie and one of the pieces maybe fell a little bit on the wrong side for him. Maybe he's feeling a little ill. And as these jokes are made, Timothy comes back with a kind of unsure look on his face. And he pretty loudly, possibly louder than he should have said this. He says towards Heath, yes, I think Mr. Rivera's not moving in his trailer, and he's not breathing. I think he's dead. And as those words leave Timothy's mouth, we're gonna go on a little break.
Oh.
So, thank you everyone for sticking through the baking contents until now. Apparently there's murder on the menu as well. Who knew? Who would have guessed? But as we go take our little break for about 10 minutes, go do the same, get up, walk around, hydrate, and we'll be back to do more baking, possibly, and very possibly solving a little bit of murder. That's on the menu as well. So thank you everyone, and we'll see you in 10.
We'll be back.
Well, hello. Welcome back. I hope you got some pie or some kind of baked good to get you through the last part of this two-shot with us, the first episode of it. Someone indeed caught birthday cake here, which is wild to me. So,
I'm so glad you found this, Ruth. It's quite impeccable.
Oh, I
Cut a
pull
little
it out
bit.
whenever I can.
all we indeed zoom back in on all three of you with a plate of some kind of cake in hand, mid-bite, as the words left Timothy of, "I think he's dead." And there is a silence and shock all over with the crew and the contestants. We get a montage of what happens next, basically. We see Heath not believing it and saying, "I need to go check." And we see Heath leaving, but ordering everyone to stay here and stay calm. He leaves. After a little bit of time, people are shocked at this and are saying, like, is this real? Like, this can't be what happened. This can be true, right? But some people, and especially like the hosts, are trying to keep everyone calm and be like, no, I'm sure it's all fine and everything. Eventually, Heath does come back and calls the officials, because indeed Paul Riviera is not moving and has been found dead in his trailer. We indeed cut forward a little bit more as the officials eventually do end up arriving to the scene. One of the officials you recognize from previous times that you have met in similar circumstances for some reason. You see that at the head of the officials that come here is Sheriff Darwimple, the sheriff that you lastly saw at the Abner mansion for the Halloween party. As the officials come here, you have all been kind of kept in the judge's tent, basically. And people obviously have been talking and been getting kind of nervous. However, once the officials are there, they do a much better job at getting everyone to calm down, take a moment. Some people have to sit down, talk. And what are the three of you, your reactions throughout all of this as we come to a point where the officials are arriving now and you are standing there with everyone else in this big judge tent?
My. Well, I guess he's not a reptilian.
Truly is a travesty that I can't get another piece.
Why can't we have a nice outing without it being involved in another murder?
You know, you'd think that eventually they would suspect it would be us or something.
Oh, say that.
We've solved
Oh.
so many of these, Doris. They would.
We've
never-
helped them so much. I mean, the sheriff's so dumb. He can't figure it out without us anyway.
Mm,
You know
That's
who
right.
they'd call? Wouldn't be Ghostbusters. It would be the Mavens.
Well,
But that
Ruth
is...
Ruth is like visibly upset at.
poor.
But
this-
she's
this
still
being
eating.
interrupted.
It's just.
composed that she doesn't care that much, but is like still visibly upset.
Yeah,
Why are you
she's-
so
she's here to
upset,
fucking
Ruth?
compete.
What's wrong?
I like that man.
She's just like, like puts her plate down without like trying to set it down, and just kind of like,
Oh,
It's a
he
shame.
did rub your shoulder. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll, have to... Well, I guess we should probably figure out what happened, but we have to get out of
Yeah,
this
I
little
just-
old tent.
Yeah. Well, we're the murder mavens. There's been a murder. We know what to do. She pulls out her notebook. Okay, So, the first thing we need to do, look for clues. And like you said, we got to get out of this tent. Right?
Yes, they're like all holding us in here, like as if we had anything to do with it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do you think this is connected to the oven, Janice?
Of course, it's connected to the oven. Doris.
Why would it be connected to the oven?
Why wouldn't it be?
Why they would want to sabotage the show to make it more dramatic. And you can't air a show when one of the judges is dead.
So you're saying is that
good
maybe
point.
the other judge was jealous of the main judge. Oh, someone new wants to be in the limelight.
You don't
Hmm.
get rid of a co-judge by
Hmm.
stabbing him.
How do you know he was stabbed? No info has come out yet.
It's
Ruth?
a saying, Doris.
Is it?
Ah.
Is it, Ruth?
I just kind of look at Janice.
All right.
Do I look like I had time to sneak out to the man's trailer? You saw me eating up them pies.
You did
Yes,
bring me that cake. It's very good.
Out of the corner of your eye, Janice, you spot. I love the idea of all of you still eating pie as you're standing there discussing this. You're like, unbelievable, this man died. I can't believe how you could do that
Yeah,
to
I
the
guess
show.
Who would
Mr.
kill
Travis,
someone
I
when
tell
there's
you.
so much good pie?
I'm saying you got to be happy. I'm on like sugar heaven right now. Oh.
But out of the corner of your eye, Janice, you spot Sheriff Darwimple. And as you spot him, he spots you, and you make eye contact. And he walks over.
When I make eye contact, I give him like a stink eye. Like, I mean, I don't like this guy. And what did you say his name was again? Wimple?
He actually Darwimple. Sheriff
Darwimple.
Darwimple. When you make eye contact and when you make this sour face, he actually looks behind him to see if you're making it at someone else. And when he sees there's no one behind him, he's like, oh, okay. He visibly swallows as he gets closer. He straightens up his sheriff hat. As he gets close to all three of you, he tips it. And he says, well, ladies,
Sheriff.
a coincidence to see you here.
Sheriff Dimple.
Mm. How are you today, Sheriff? Come here to screw up the
Been doing
investigation?
better. Was doing better until I got called here for a murder. And apparently y'all seem to be here as well, coincidentally.
We are
Always seem to
contestants,
find
young man.
your contestants on the show. Lovely for you free ladies. I'm sure it keeps you busy at these days, you know.
Well, it was until one of your judges got
In-
murdered.
That's true. And Janice, your husband, well, late husband, did make some damn good bakings back when he was still with us. So I can imagine why you're here. Yeah. However, as he is interrupted by Heath calling out, raising his voice to speak to everyone in the tent, Heath says, right, so the officials will be here taking care of their business, but until then we have gotten green light to continue filming. So, everyone take a moment, and we will surely get everything set up to record the final part of the episode, and then everything will be fine. Thank you, people. Work. And you see
Excuse me.
him. You see him immediately talk to his production crew and get started again. The sheriff, however, turns to you, and he says, "Yes, so we have given them a green light to continue filming as they want it to. It seems like the best course of option. However, we do have to investigate, and everyone needs to be kept here. And well, the producer so kindly said if we keep everyone here, might as well put them to work. So we insisted that indeed he can keep on working and you can keep producing the episode. How without one of the judges missing? I don't know. Don't ask me. But yeah, since you're contestants, you'll be continuing with the show as well. When you're here.
We don't have
Okay.
time for that. The Mavens are needed. We can put this pathetic little show behind us for the moment.
Well, let's not be too hasty.
A man has just died.
It
And we
is.
need to figure out, Doris says, is the only person who doesn't care at all about the show.
No. Doris is 100% correct here. I mean, Sheriff,
Thank you, Janice.
I know that there's not a lot going on between those ears, but surely you can't think that this investigation.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, dear.
Remember, he doesn't have a lot going on between there. You got to talk slower, Janice.
So I know that you're not very smart, Sheriff, but if we continue to film the show, it's gonna muck up the investigation. Now, I don't know, maybe you don't care about that. I know you're involved in most of the shady things that go on in this town. Isn't that right, Sheriff?
See, I got it all figured out, actually, because it's perfect. I got a plan for it. Because you three lovely ladies will help me figure out what really happened here. Because I do need to go back to the office to get some paperwork sorted, and in the meantime, since y'all are contestants here, you won't be noticed snooping around a little bit and asking people some questions, now would you? And in the meantime, you do have to, I presume, we can't leave the premises right now until the episode is finished filming, so seems like a perfect plan now, doesn't it?
Sheriff, in what world is it more important to go back to the office and do paperwork when there is an
Now, where did you get that
active murder
cake?
scene?
You don't get any cake.
Sheriff, we're
And
on a
true
cooking show.
investigators only need look around to find
All right, I'm getting some bad vibes here. I'm getting the feeling I'm not really welcome.
My afternoon
oh
has
my
been
Lord.
ruined, young man. Have some decorum.
My pie was called flat and sugary.
Mm. Look, why don't you go ask
Taste
Keith
it?
for some donuts on your way out
Yeah.
and hurry along?
Free?
We'll do your work for you,
He
Sheriff.
kind
Don't
of
you worry.
seems- He kind of seems a
Mm.
little bit hurt by this. Maybe in his own family, he has had this kind of treatment before.
Oh.
And he kind of feels, in a way, he kind of feels like he is standing in front of his own mom or grandma, and he clears his throat a little bit.
Now I feel bad.
Well, I thank you, ladies, for your kindness and for the investigation that you will be doing while I go take care of important business. And I will be seeing you later, I suppose. Yes, Ms. Ruth.
Could you remind me of his first name? Of course, she'd know it. Of the sheriff's first name? Oh, you froze.
Oh, did you freeze? Did we lose her?
Uh-oh.
Freeze? Oh,
Oh,
I
you're
did.
back.
You're back,
I did.
you're back,
I'm
you're
back. I'm back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is Sheriff Darwimple's first name?
Sure. You would get his first name, and it's Derry.
Derry Darwimple? Amazing.
He was not lucky as a kid.
Derry, I'll be sure to bring a slice round later.
When you say his first name, it hits something inside of him. And when you say, I'll bring a slice,
Yeah, I'll bring a slice around later.
that is all. that is awfully kind of you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
I
Can I
lean
call
over to
you-
Janice.
Can I call you Ruth?
Sure.
I just lean over to Janice and say, first name basis, huh?
Mm.
She
does
has to
love a
find a
man
new
in
target.
uniform.
Whoa. That's not the game we're playing here.
It is for Doris.
He
Don't you two get any ideas. I'm trying to be on the right side of the law.
he bids all of you farewell for now, and he does indeed leave, leaving
Bye,
the three of
Dimple.
you there.
Man, it's a
You better not
You
bring that
do-
man nothing. Ruth.
Janice, you do see him pass by Heath and get instructed towards the table where the pies are at. Before as he leaves, he takes like some pie and leaves.
Hmm.
It is
Well-
easier to attract flies with honey.
I don't want a
You
fly.
two would mind knowing that we can be sassy, but sass and insults are one step away from each other.
All right, Ruth. Listen. That man is a dirty cop. We all should know this by now. Okay? If you don't think that he had something to do with my bill disappearing, if you don't think that that man was involved,
I agree, but he carries a gun and a badge, and you are not going to lock him in some basement and squeeze any information out of him. The way you're going to do it is with kindness, not with bullets.
Bullets. How dramatic.
you do things your way.
Coming out of your
Ruth.
mouth the moment he shows up.
Well.
Goodness gracious. Where is that?
We'll do things our own
other
way.
pie?
Now, I had an idea while you know this was all happening. Look, clearly I can admit that I'm probably not going to be a finalist because my pie skills suck. Okay, we'll just say it. Okay, they
Whoa,
just
whoa,
suck. I
that's
got there and I
Doris.
didn't know what I was doing.
That's not
You didn't
okay.
even
It's
try-
just-
you-
look,
Don't you
just
talk
gotta
about my
try.
friend that way.
I'm sorry.
And
It's just,
Janice,
you know,
as well, you know that people don't get dropped out. Basically, you're in for the full episode, and at the end of the episode, there's a winner. There's no dropouts.
So look, I'm gonna be not in the rest of this show. So what I can do is I can just walk off while you guys do
No,
that. Keep them all
Doris,
distracted.
Doris,
with
you're here
your
till the
little
end.
handheld shoulder.
Doris,
What do you mean I'm here till the end?
the contestants are on until the final round, and then you find out who wins and who loses. It's okay.
I got wait a minute. You mean I have to bake something else?
Yeah, like 2 more things.
That was just the first round.
It's the first round, Doris.
Oh, right. Yeah, I knew that. I didn't think this was just like you bake something and then there's a winner.
We have
Like,
talked
of course,
about this
there's
extensively.
multiple rounds. Yeah, I
It's
paid
okay.
attention to the pamphlet. I didn't check the email because I didn't get the email.
I don't think you have an email, Doris.
I do. I emailed you the picture of Mr. Miyagi.
Oh,
Remember,
right.
you
Yeah, you're right.
you laid it
Remember
flat
the
on the
pictures
top
of
of your
Mr.
desk. You told me you have a picture on the top of your desk now.
Correct.
Wow.
So kind of you to blow that up so big. I'm sure I'll have to come over and take a look.
Oh,
Next, you're going to tell me I had to sign some sort of waiver.
Doris, you did sign a waiver, Doris. We all signed waivers.
did?
I was standing next to you, Doris. Please, we gotta go to
Oh,
the
I
doctor,
just-
Doris.
I thought that gentleman just wanted my number. I signed it Doris D with a heart and my number.
All right, okay.
I should really read these things.
It's okay. You know what? You
Hmm.
got Mr. Miyagi. You don't need anything else. You don't need to be reading.
Maybe Mr. Miyagi can go take a look while we're...
Talking about Mr. Miyagi, actually, I imagine you're all standing close to Doris's island, and at the mention of his name, you hear a meow coming from somewhere down below. and the camera focuses in on the meow, and we see Doris brought this gigantic handbag that can be zipped closed. And we hear this meow coming from inside of this bag. And as the camera focuses up, we see the bag actually be unzipped by itself from the inside as Mr. Miyauki opens it with his paw and sticks his head out until stop. Until it's fully unzipped,
Smart
and
cat.
he crawls out, and he has been silently sitting there this entire time. And it gets unzipped. He walks out. He walks over to Doris, ready to be picked up.
I quickly, Mr. Miyagi, and I wrote down, and I immediately like halfway closed the bag because on the inside you see like an Easy Bake Betty Crocker cake like box in there with like the ingredients on the back. Just like, oh, let's just let's close this up now.
Inside the bag, we also see a very small cat-sized detective hat that's left inside there. It's just Mr. Miyagi now. It's not Mr. Miyagi the detective.
Yeah, and he has his own little black apron with like little paw print paint, like that's like in there as well. You know, and just in case I want, I could bring him out and we could match. But okay, all right, Mr. Miyagi, you need to stay here and stay quiet until we can figure out a plan. Okay, there's been a murder.
He licks his paw a few times and then keeps it there as like a salute that someone would do. He just licks a few times, keeps it there, and then lowers it down.
Did he just salute?
He just
Well, of course he did. It's Mr. Miyagi.
A little sailor.
That cat.
Well, he does
adorable.
love being by the sea.
What a smart cat.
My Mavens.
Very smart.
As Mr. Miyagi goes to settle into one of the shelves that's inside of this island to keep away some of the baking stuff, and he goes in there and lays in Doris's island. You see that people have dispersed a little bit. Not everyone is in this tent anymore. Some people are, trying to get ready to eventually start recording again. You know, you're now in the judge's tent, the biggest location. You know that there are 4 trailers around the vicinity of this tent as well. And you know that, well, reasonably, you know a handful of people who were here during lunchtime as well. All of the others were gone, but there were 2, 4, 6, 8. Yes. 8 people. Who were
we didn't find
definitely
out
on
how
site
he
with
died
you.
yet, right?
Oh yeah.
Haven't done anything, found anything yet. So, I want to know. What's your first tip?
Well,
We need to get eyes on the body.
I agree, Doris.
I'm
That's almost always
We're
the
gonna-
first step.
We're gonna need a distraction, as I think both Janice and Doris both turn and look at Ruth, like in sync.
Oh,
We're gonna need
oh.
a distraction.
honey, watch this. She just takes her cup of sugar, turns the broiler on, and throws it in and walks away.
Oh my god!
Oh, there's smoke coming out of my oven.
All right, Doris, let's scurry and we get
Okay,
away
yeah.
from the oven.
Oh my gosh! Look at that oven. Just like as we scurry away,
Is that on fire? Run.
fire!
Whoa, no, it's just smoke.
Oh,
Can
just
someone
smoke.
help? Where did I put those oven mitts? And she like kicks them under her station.
Amazing. Immediately, people from the production crew start reacting as there's actual smoke coming from your station. And some of them run over. One of them does try to get a fire extinguisher just in case fire would break out. And you Doris and Janice easily get to walk away a little bit unseen in this chaos as you make your way out of sight of the judge's tent. We will follow you first as you make your way out of the judge's tent. Your intent to find Paul's body. Logically speaking, Paul had his own trailer, and you heard when Timothy came back that he found Paul in his own trailer indeed. So, as you make your way over the area and look at the trailers, they all have the tags of whose trailer it actually is. You pass one and see that it's Jane's, and then pass to the second one and see that Paul's was next to hers. As you come closer, you don't see anyone near, you don't hear any sound coming from within. You seem to be alone right now. So, you try the door, and it is unlocked. However, you do see that at the door there is tape from the police that they put it off as a crime scene.
Just tape it off and leave. All right.
Hmm.
Is anybody like guarding it or looking around?
Right now, close to Paul's trailer, there isn't. It's taped off. You don't hear anyone or see anyone right now.
Okay. Well, on our way then, shall we?
Yes, let's quickly.
Just precaution, and Janice takes out a little handkerchief for when she like opens the door, not mess up any fingerprints or anything here.
Very wise. And like I have like a handkerchief too because we're practiced in this, and so we like slowly peel the tape away, and as we open the door, like I slowly like close it, still holding the tape, and I just kind of like lightly tap it to like the edge of the door. So it before it was like covering all across the door, but now it's like on the door, so I can just slap it there and then close the door. So it still looks like it's there if you're like just glancing by, like you see the police tape still across, but it's not fully across the door like it was before.
And I think we both have matching like little embroidered like
Maven,
and it says Mavens on
yeah, it has Mavens on it. We all have one.
Yeah.
I do like that, so I will ask Adam for you to roll for me. Roll me a day move, which is you doing something risky, meddling with the taping and stuff. You can roll 2d6 and add your composure to it for me, and tell me how much you get.
Present. Oh, that's not good.
Composed.
I rolled 3 on the dice, so and I don't have anything. And I think there's like light ones in there. Is that like? And then I have like a dark one. I don't know if it's like, do you have zeros in all of them and then just like one and like one skill, or is there like?
If you didn't add or subtract anything, you will just have a 1 composure.
Okay,
So
then
that's a plus 1.
Okay, 2, 3, so it's 4 total. I rolled a 2 and a 1.
You rolled a 4.
So composed.
Great.
So, I will say that if you do this, you start meddling with the police tape on the door. And as you start, you start maybe thinking a little bit too hard on it. And you think, okay, if I meddle with this tape and if I somehow make it obvious that someone meddled with it, well, maybe someone would have seen that I and Janice went to this trailer and it was us that meddled with it. And maybe the person who actually sees this is the one who murdered Paul. So if I meddle with this tape, we might have been picked up and put on the radar by the murderer of Paul. And maybe they will come for me next. You know that this might be a possibility, And I'm now going to give you the chance to stop what you're doing and not continue it, or to keep doing it.
There's always risk and mystery, but Amanda Delacourt wouldn't give up now just so easily. The cat always outwits the fox. And you see the door just click shut, like as I'm sticking to it.
You do meddle with it, and the door clicks shut behind you. Choice been made. As the
Nope.
two of you get inside of the trailer, why don't the two of you both give me a little fun detail that we would see in a trailer of a person like Paul, definitely a celebrity who maintains his outward persona pretty well, but also genuinely is just one of those people that everyone seems to get along with, you know? What are two details that we would see in this trailer? I'll add in, it is a trailer that has a little bit of a wider space where there is a vanity and there is a little bathroom of its own, and there is like a wider area with a couch and for people to sit and get ready.
I think you would notice, like, on one wall, probably like some in frames, but some tape, like there is just a like collage of just pictures of them with like other previous like contestants, fans, other celebrities, and all of them have like, you know, fantastic like kind remarks from like whoever like they took photos with. So it's not like he handing it and signing it. It's like these are other people that have like sent stuff to him that's like, oh, thank you so much for whatever it may be, right? Like, and you could just tell like he has such a fantastic relationship with like everybody that he's been in contact with or worked with, and he has just this like kind of his wall of inspiration right there next to his vanity of just like all these people that like just see him as this like amazing person.
I love to imagine basically Paul printing out his own Yelp reviews and putting it on his wall.
He's a little conceited, but it's also like, oh, I've made an impact in all these lives.
Perfect. Yes.
I think also he has a bowl full of Oreos. He likes his simple, common snacks, even though he's a renowned baker. He's got his Oreos in there, and Janice gives a little notice and goes, picks one up and eats it.
Now don't leave no crumbs, Janice.
Of course not.
You go through this small, really, hallway as you enter through the door, pass by the door that's in this little small bathroom toilet area, and you indeed pick up an Oreo from one of the jars on his vanity. As you start putting it in your mouth and crunch it, you both see the sight that is before you. Namely, in the widest area of this trailer, next to the small little table meant to probably be eating whatever meal he needs to when he wants to be on his own, and a sofa that can be pulled out to use as a little bed, you see Paul lying on his side on the floor. The things you see right now are that his face is covered in flour, and his hands are tied behind his back in these beautifully plaited nylon cords. And this is the sight that you see as you walk in and crunch on your Oreo.
As Janice is crunching, I go, what if he was poisoned? Janice, the Oreos! Spit it out! Not on the floor!
You spit it out all over the floor.
Oh, Doris, you scared.
Look at me. Okay, breathe. Okay, open your eyes. All right, are you all right?
My throat is closing.
Okay.
Is my throat closing?
No, you're okay. No, it's fine.
Are my eyes red?
Me outside. No, you're right. Well, they're always kind of red. Okay. Hey, slap out of it. I just give her a little slap. Slap out of it.
All right.
You're fine.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm all right.
Right. Sorry, overreaction. I just kind of look a little bit and it'll later reflect. Oh, you look fine. Okay, all right. Let's reassess the situation. Okay.
Okay, so
What fancy little...
so this is interesting. Covered in flour, right?
Mm.
Writes in her notebook. Very intricate lacework here with the nylon ties. Is pleated, or did you said it was braided?
Braided. Very nice. I wonder who would have such a thing.
His hands were tied. Does it look like? Is there any blood? Is there anything around? Does it look like his face is covered in flour? You said. Is there a source of flour around?
It awfully sounds like you're meddling with the crime scene. Why don't you go ahead, Bijan, roll me 2d6 and add your composure to it.
11.
Oof. Way better than
An
mine.
11.
So composed.
So
Seen a lot of
composed
bodies.
in the vicinity.
I love it when a good
And it's
conspiracy comes together.
Yeah, in the vicinity of this body. You start taking a closer look at his body. You get right up in his face, his somewhat uncanny, not breathing, dead face. Damn, he's still so attractive though. He's still so attractive. If only his blue steely eyes were open, you could see them one last time, but they're closed right now. No, get yourself together. This is not what you're looking for here right now. You're looking for clues. And as you do look at his face, you notice the tiniest speck indeed on the side of his mouth. And then underneath him on the carpet a little bit. There's some blood there. Seemingly having come from his mouth in like a little bit of a pattern as if he had to cough up when he was on the floor. Curious.
Huh?
Maybe he was actually poisoned and maybe Doris wasn't so far off.
Interesting. All right. Doris, we've got blood. We've got blood, Doris. And again, she writes it in her notebook. Looks like he was
Oh, yeah.
coughing.
As Doris is just like kind of sitting there like staring at his like broad shoulders and arms and just like, I was just looking at his there's no markings on his arms that I could see. You said blood.
I did say blood. You know, Doris, you can see a lot more of him on the show. You know, we can look at old episodes if you really want to.
Oh, he's
Take a
not in it
gander.
anymore. It wouldn't be any good.
Yeah,
Right.
there's blood, Doris. She'll
Okay.
explain
Well,
the coughing pattern.
okay, blood. So coughed up. There's flour. Maybe there. I'm gonna start looking around, kind of taking the cue from Janice. Is there a flower like half footprint or handprint? Like, is there any flour anywhere else in the room that's like, oh, maybe someone did this and then had flour on their hands or something and like touched something?
Would you also go ahead, Doris, and give me a meddling move of 2d6 plus reason for you now?
Come on, baby. I suck. It's a 5. I can't bake. I can't Maven.
Okay, know that at any point all of you can put on a crown for yourself to up your success tier by 1. Know that. You don't have to do it right now. Okay. You start looking, trying to find any other source in this trailer. And you go away from the body and start just really looking at the floor first to see if there's footprints, looking on the walls to see if there's handprints and stuff. And You are kind of in your own space right now in this like detective mindset almost. You don't notice that you are walking, back into this little hallway when you came, and you suddenly down where you were looking see 2 feet that you didn't notice before. Um, Actually stiletto feet, and you look up and you see that in this doorway from where you came, you see Donna standing there. And she looks at you way too close to be comfortable. She says, "Do you mind?"
Oh, hello, dearie.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I don't think we've met. As I kind of say that loudly as Janice is back in the other room. I'm Doris.
And as you actually say, "I don't think we've met," with a gulp as you stand up straight, we will cut away from that scene for a second. And we leave you there as the camera kind of gives us a more far away view of this confrontation going on. The sounds get muffled, and instead we start hearing the sounds from a little bit more bustling of people and the big judge's tent. As camera turns around and focuses in on Ruth. You were left in the judge's tent, and you were trying to cause a little bit of a ruckus with your smoke, with the sugar that you threw into the broiler. You did manage to cause a little bit of a ruckus, definitely. Some of the crew had to come in and try to, turn off the oven and get all of the sugar back out and stuff. They also were talking, well, we need to get you a new island to work in. And then they said, well, there's still this one island of the contestant that hasn't showed up yet, so we could put Ruth basically there for now so that they can deal with that later. You did manage to cause a bit of a ruckus. Why don't you also give me a meddling move of 2d6 plus your presence, because you're doing a little bit of a ruckus with people here.
Present 0. All right, I got a 6.
A6. Okay.
Correct.
You manage to they manage to solve the immediate issue right now, and one of the crew is designated to kind of take care of you and stick by your side a little bit, because they don't want, they don't blame you for any of it. It's more like this poor old lady, she maybe didn't know what was happening or stuff, didn't look out, maybe she's not used to working with some of this equipment. We're gonna be taking care of her a little bit. I want you to take the condition watched or like
monitored.
Yeah, like I want to say like babysat in a certain way, right?
Supervised. Yeah.
Yeah, supervised. Want to take you to condition supervised.
Come on, Ruth. Come on.
Because indeed right now there is a younger person in the crew who has been designated to keep an eye on you for now. So that does happen. However, you do, as they are taking care of you in the judge's tent, you do get a chance to also look around a little bit on the different islands and try to kind of snoop and see if you find anything that's out of the ordinary. As you do, you notice something indeed. You notice that something that wouldn't stick out normally, but does for one specific reason. Namely, on the island that they bring you to right now, which is the unoccupied island until now, you see in the trash bin there, are actually in the oven itself. You see a baking sheet still in there. You also see floured kind of handprints on the handles of the oven, as if like someone had flour on their hands and it pulled it up open. You see both of those on this oven that's supposedly unused. Because the contestant, Rosemary, who had to be at this island, hasn't been there yet. And the only reason that sticks out to you is because, well, during lunchtime, everything was cleaned up so that all of the islands were clean for the next round. So normally, stuff like this, baking sheet would have been taken out, thrown away. The oven would have been cleaned up. So that doesn't quite fit. That's a clue you did find. As you do this, you are kind of settled there. Is there anything else that Ruth would be doing, would be trying, as she is stationed basically in this judge's tent with the supervisor?
I guess first, like,
Honey, you mind if I do a little prep on my station? I want to make sure everything's fine. Don't have another accident. You know what I mean?
I actually like the idea that a person from the production crew was put to supervise you, and out of the kindness of her heart, Sue, one of the hosts, offered to take over from her so that, you know, the production person could go back to her job, and Sue's waiting until they go back to filming either way. So Sue kindly offered to take over supervising a little bit for you. So as you say that, Sue steps in and says, I am perfectly fine to take care for a little while and take over here so you can go do your job again. And I can wait here with the lovely lady. Production crew thanks Sue and leaves. And Sue turns to you. I actually don't think I know your name. I'm gonna guess. She starts looking over you. Says, you have the features of in what year were you born?
Oh, honey, if you're gonna guess my name, you're gonna guess the year too.
Okay, so not a lot of help. You have the stern eyes. You've seen a lot. You have the little furrows in your brow, which show that you have been frowning a whole lot, which a lot of elderly people do. So that's not quite a help here. You have a bit of a smaller stature, but firm, as if you've been doing some physical work as well. Not that this helps in your finding your name in any way. I am going to go for Susan.
You know, it's quite interesting that you would choose your. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I forgot to mute also. Critical moment. You know, it's quite an interesting reflection to choose your own name that I would be after, but no, that's incorrect. If you had been paying attention so diligently, you would have heard Ruth called up and I would have walked in.
That was going to be my second guess, actually. So I was very close.
Well, everyone second guesses correctly, but I'm not someone you should second guess.
Ooh. All right, we have a feisty lady here. Sorry, I won't second guess incorrectly next time.
Aren't you supposed to be comedic relief? You want to tell me one of your little jokes?
I would love for you to roll me another meddling roll here with your presence added, please.
6 plus 2 is 10. No, 6 plus 2 is not 10. Come on, Jimmy.
That's 8.
My presence. That's 8, and my presence is 0. That's still an 8.
That's an 8.
Yes.
Okay. She smiles, but there is when you make a comment on her comedic relief factor and the fact that she should be funny, she smiles it off pretty easily, but you do notice that hit a nerve. there is something there that this is maybe not the first time she has heard that. And it hit a definite nerve there. She does reply.
Uh-huh.
And she says, "Oh, well, calm down there. There's no need for any of this. Let's hope no one gets burned, metaphorically or literally, right here, right?" So, I'm sure that my comedic value is only a second asset to why I am a host on this show, and I have been ever since it has been on air, you know? So, but I get it if you haven't really watched the show, you're not a fan of it or anything like that. It's difficult to understand why some people would be here and stuff, but I'm happy to give you an explanation of everyone's job here or the importance of it, and I could really go on and on about it.
That's great. Are you done patronizing me?
I'm so sorry, that wasn't my intention to... I'm mainly trying to make conversation here.
Oof. Quite an attempt. Look, I understand. I am tired of, frankly, someone appearing deceased on your set and your producers saying we continue. And I just believe that is unfounded. And I'm not sure how many times this has happened because I haven't watched the footage that has revealed if other people have been deceased on your set. Now, maybe you could give me just an ounce of grace for being a little on edge. Because I myself came here to bake, not to investigate a murder or wait it out in this piece of fabric you call a tent.
She gives like an understanding nod a little bit at you, indeed saying, "Well, you gotta understand, this is all a little bit much, and someone ended up dead here,
A man has
and
died."
Have you no respect? It does. She seems to be putting on this like very boisterous demeanor, and it does falter a little bit, but it really easily picks back up. Yes, I get it. It's all a bit much to take in, honestly. And I mean, if it makes you feel any better or does anything, I do believe that, well, between you and me, the only reason that Sam here might feel a little bit neutral about Mr. Riviera's death could be the rumors of him making some very unreasonable contractual demands recently. You know, with the whole show having to... Right now, it's in dubio if it was going to be renewed or not, and I heard that he was making some unreasonable demands right now, which put him in a difficult position, put a producing crew in a difficult position, put his own fellow judge in a difficult position. Doesn't sound like a great man now, does it?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a judge on a show. I might have just been a simple fishing woman most of my life, but I'm not sure if someone need to be put down under, frankly, what is public television in the UK. But that's just my guess.
I'm
Of course,
sure
as you
the
said, I don't really
production
watch it.
and camera crew here are very good at their jobs. I'm sure they'll make it look like nothing even happened, really.
I am so interested to see how the movie magic peels back the fact that you no longer have a co-judge. So interested.
Hey, I'm not the one who has either the baking expertise or the camera expertise here, so I'm just as interested as you, actually. Now,
I'm sure they don't need to put any secrets back when you go, oh, you got 15 minutes left.
You were going to prep? You wanted to prep at your island a little bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to see, the last one, it burned. And, was it Miss Blair's oven, it didn't work. So I was just going to check this to make sure that, I'm sure that your camera crew has been hard at work catching the crispest angles to sweep away the deceased, but I'm just going to inspect to make sure that this kitchen appliance is not going to hurt me.
It's not my camera crew, although I would wish it was, Imagine being a big star on the show. Imagine, right? Seems like an amazing opportunity, but I'm not, and
Oh, I'm sure it's something you've imagined. As I kind of just turn away and look at this handprint and kind of like size my own hand up to it to like see if it's significantly larger or similarly sized.
the difficult thing with flour is that it gets everywhere.
It does.
So you do try to size your hand up to it, but could be your size, could be bigger as well. Flour has kind of spread on the handle, so I don't think you'll get a hand size out of this.
And then just, open it up and just...
But you were looking at this island and, weren't there 4 kitchen knives in that block where there were now 3?
Probably just take a step back, look over at the other islands and confirm that.
Weird. Where could that knife have gone? We leave you there, pondering that. Sue standing next to you, smiling, as
For
the
what?
camera cuts open on the scene that was unraveling, where now Donna has taken a few steps into the trailer as Doris and Janice, sorry. You were standing there, and you introduce yourself. A pleasure to meet you, I'm sure. Why are you in my dead husband's trailer?
Well, interesting question. We could ask you the same thing, as this is a crime scene.
As this is my deceased husband, I got permission to come look at him.
Interesting.
Is he your deceased husband as well?
No,
I don't believe so.
I've got my own deceased husband.
As I'm sure that's all very relevant.
Well, Miss, what was her name again? It was Sue?
Donna
Donna.
Donna
Oh, whoops.
Rivera.
Donna Rivera.
Well, Donna, usually the closest people to the deceased aren't generally supposed to be around the body. They might tamper with the evidence. Now, you may not have heard of us.
As you say that, she takes out a cigarette and is listening to you, but just takes a cigarette and lights it in the trailer.
Okay, as I was saying, you might tamper with the evidence, such as with smoke, and if you may not have heard of us, as traveling around with the show and everything, but we kind of solve the murders in this
You're going
town.
on too long, as she literally walks past you, and she just you keep rambling on. She walks past and she just looks down at the body Such a shame, really. He had a good cock, you know. Well,
I did not
decent
know.
enough. Oh well. The world will miss him, I suppose. Such a shame.
Doesn't sound like you'll miss him very much.
You
two
know,
not in
married
love?
life. Married life, always ups and downs.
Mhm. This is just one of those downs, right?
We've never really had a down like this before. That's a new one. At least you could surprise me that way, I suppose.
Right.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one who will miss his assets.
Yes, he was a handsome man.
Oh, I see what's going on here. He had a secret lover you didn't like.
No, dearie, not so secret at all, actually. I mean, do you know how famous couples do it? I mean, we get tired of each other all the time, so...
Oh, yes, I know exactly how famous couples do it.
Sure.
I knew he was bettering around. I mean, God, but for them to take one of them and put them on the show again, that was a bold move from the production crew, though.
Oh.
Oh. Well, that's juicy.
She tips some of her ashes down next to the body.
Oh, okay, that's not great. So who on the show used to have a little fling with Mr. Riviera? Who would that be?
She looks down at Paul. Well, I mean, I suppose sharing it now doesn't hurt anyone anymore because, well, you're dead. Shame. I mean, he loved all kinds of people, and apparently some of the kinds that he liked were very twinky and didn't really have a lot of assets to give them.
I think it was the guy with the cock cake.
Bingo. Smart
With
one.
It makes
tie.
sense. She said he was well endowed, and he made a very large cake. That was a cock.
It was quite accurate, actually. It was quite
yeah.
accurate.
And you can walk in those heels?
All right.
We got bored of
Well.
each other easily.
Oh, I can tell.
Okay. I mean, but how was your marriage otherwise? What did you enjoy his company?
Now, it doesn't really matter. I've new things in sight anyway. It's not like my bed is going to go cold. His is, though, sadly enough. Although I could... no. I could use his bed as well.
Sure.
My.
Oh,
Okay.
ladies, it was lovely talking to you. I've seen him now. I've mourned. I think I will mourn a bit outside as well.
Okay.
Please. Please.
We'll
yes.
finish up
We're
over
just-
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She puts out the rest of her cigarette on her stiletto as she raises it, and then as she walks out, she dumps it in the trash can that's under the vanity. She just walks out of the trailer. And as she does, you, actually, the two of you, and also Ruth from within the judge's tent, you hear a little bit of ruckus. And as first you ask what might be causing a little bit of a scene here, Ruth, for you it's clearer than for the other two. And you hear the voice, actually, as you see a familiar gray, ashy gray, bobbed haircut with sunglasses on, taking the sunglasses off and saying, "Well, what did I miss?" As we cut away from the scene, we get a black screen with fancy swirling script on it that says "To be continued." And that is where we're gonna leave off for tonight.
And Rose is here.
So,
Let's go.
thank you. Thank you, my grannies, for baking and for already starting to solve this murder. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching with us as these grannies tried to scramble their way through this crime scene. And next time, we will indeed be joined by our fourth Maven again. Chris will be here as Rosemary, and it's going to be delightful to see the four of you tackle this murder mystery and solve it, bring it to a conclusion, and see who or what in the heavens killed Paul Rivera, our dearly beloved judge of the show. So until then, we will see you next week. Same time, same place, right here, as we do the last part of our two-shot for the Great Brindlewood Bake Off. So thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your time zone. And we will see you then.
Bye, dearies.